Welcome to the creative world of Adoor Gopalakrishnan and our YouTube channel Swayamvaram 50. Mathilukal, translated from Malayalam as was, the 1990 film is Adoor's first to be based on a popular Malayalam novelette. The novelette was by iconic literary figure of Malayalam, Vaikam Mohammed Basheer, who was also a freedom fighter of the country in 1940s. The film is an all-male film with the only woman being invisible lover of the lead character. We hear the voice of the woman from the other side of the wall of the jail where the freedom fighter writer was imprisoned. Neither the story nor the film actually visualizes the leading lady as the film is set in the jail of 1940s. To cast the woman character with a strong seductive voice, Adoor auditioned 26 people only to zero in on the late K.P.S. Lalitha, one of his favorite character actors in almost all of his films. Just as Basheer's story, when it was published in 1960s, the film was celebrated in Kerala and across the world. With this film, Mamooty, the popular Malayalam actor, became the leading man of Adoor's film, acting as Basheer, the writer himself, a rare opportunity for an actor to do so when the writer himself was alive.
ആളെ മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ? വൈക്കം മുഹമ്മദ് ബഷീർ, എ വെരി ഒറിജിനൽ റൈറ്റർ, എക്സെപ്ഷണലി ബ്രില്യൻറ്റ്.
ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ ജയിലിൽ രാഷ്ട്രീയ തടവുകാരായി എത്ര പേരുണ്ട്?
നിങ്ങളെ കൊണ്ടുപോകുന്നിടത്ത് 17 പേരുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങളും ചേർത്ത് 18 ആകും.
എന്താ കുറ്റം?
രാജദ്രോഹം. എനിക്ക് അല്പമൊക്കെ അറിയാവുന്ന എന്നെപ്പറ്റി, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ എന്നെപ്പറ്റി തന്നെ എഴുതുന്നു. ഇതിനു മുമ്പ് ഒരിക്കലും അനുഭവിച്ചിട്ടില്ലാത്ത ഏകാന്തം.
Coming to Mathilukal, Adoor, you chose Basheer's story. Basheer, as you know, it's one of the most original Malayalam writers. He's a Muslim and he's a Basheer, and you wrote the most simple Malayalam anybody could do in that generation. What attracted you to that story?
Actually, it was published in the Mamooty special. 1967, a story was written in that by Basheer as was published. This was Mathilukal. It had become so popular. Gopalakrishnan did another edition of the same thing. He brought out a reprint of that annual, and I had read it at that time. And I like everybody else, I also immensely liked it. See, after Anandaram, there was a period when it was very hard for me to settle on a subject which would really, the real inspiration to carry on. So I was looking for, at the back of my mind, I used to be examining several subjects, several themes, but I was not happy with anything. Then I thought maybe this story was there, and many, because of its instant popularity, many producers had decided to adapt this story to cinema, and these rights were bought by them. But what happened was, many of them at the very point of production, they developed doubts about whether a film can be made without a heroine. And that she has to be a beautiful heroine, not only just a heroine. How can there be a film without a heroine? This question stopped them from doing it. So everybody had abandoned it. I thought, why not I take it up? Because I reread the story at that time. Because I recalled the experience of having read it when it was published. Then I found it very interesting because there was a challenge in doing it. Because there is only one character and the other character doesn't appear in the whole film. And Basheer's craft is such that everybody will be interested in what is going on the screen. I could imagine. And then I asked Mr. Ravi whether he can lend me that story, whether I can do it. He said, by all means. So he permitted. So I went to see Basheer. When I was talking to him, he told me several people had written the script, and some scripts had even more than one heroine in the film, because every time the woman is speaking from the other side, it's a different heroine. So that way they could show several beautiful girls. That was the idea. Who is going to play your heroine? He asked. Then I said, no, there will be no heroine show. Then you will make a good film. This was his response.
Because that's how it's imagined and written.
Yes, yes. Then you will make a good film. So I was very pleased with his response. So then I got the rights and I gave him a check. And he looked at the check and said, this is a princely amount. In the beginning, before we talked about the business of borrowing it, adapting it, he was telling about one lady, Shaba Saidi. She was adapting short stories for the Doordarshan. She said, Shaba has written to me, she will pay me 1,500 rupees for this story. I was very lost at that time. I thought, go on. I had gone all the way to talk to him. He said, did you give it away, the rights? No, not yet. I said, no, don't give it. We have come to buy the rights of this and your blessings. While we were leaving, he asked me, so will you show me the script? I didn't answer him because it's very dangerous to show the script to the writer. They may have different ideas, then it will be difficult. I told Dr. Basheer, you should tell him later, not now, that it's not my habit to show the script to the writer because that won't be very smooth. So that's how it started. Then I wrote the script and then I thought I had to have a real good artist to do the role of Basheer. And I asked Mamooty, and he said, sir, this is a lifetime honor for me to work as Basheer while he is around. I said, yes, that is the thing, that's why I asked you. So the real problem was to find a good voice for Narayani. Actually, there was a woman. I asked him, was there a real woman there? He said, there was a woman. But she was confined there. She was condemned to that punishment because she had killed her husband. So I did not mention that. In the story, I don't make a mention of it because then the whole romance will collapse. That's what he said. Then the whole romance will collapse. So I kept it. He is asking, so you are here for something? How many years? So she says, so many years. Oh, so it's for a crime of murder. He says that, and there is silence on the other side. So it is left at that point.
But Mohan had the jail experience, the first half. I thought when you keep seeing it, you feel you are also in part of the jail. That experience is...
Because I take them along. Actually, it starts where Basheer is in the court. Basheer is anti-government activities.
Accused of treason.
Yes, for treason he is punished. Basheer is taken along, by two policemen. The way they treat him, it is established how important a writer he is. The policemen also know he is a very important writer. He is treated like that, not like a criminal. Then he is taken over by the warder, jail
Long
warder.
walk.
Where it's a trip around the interior of the jail and down to the finally to that cell where he is going to be kept. There you get the feeling that you have been taken inside the jail. Yes.
Typical humor of Basheer also comes in.
Yes.
The police fellow keeps that BD and blade.
Yes.
One thought why is such a long walk? But then once he's settled there, you get to know that you are inside the jail.
Yes.
So
it's a long walk, but then many things happen in that walk. It is not just tediously walking. No.
So the way you bring in that Congress leaders and what the political upheaval are happening outside, that is also, I think, that and placing Basheer along with that.
Yes. Actually, in my interpretation of the film, it's asking a question about what is freedom.
But then the fight for the freedom also comes in because
That's all in the background. That's all in the background. For Basheer, everybody else is like his characters.
Yes.
So they are all his own people. He treats them all alike.
Yes.
Yes. Because they are all his characters, in fact.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, Bashir, the real person, was also like that.
Like that.
He was himself.
Yeah.
For me, the most difficult part was to recreate Bashir, the writer, because the story is written in first person. So you say, in my film, I cannot use his voice and then also all these things. It will be just a narrative, that's all. So I had to recreate this Bashir. For that, I had to read his. I had read all that before, but then in one stretch, I had to sit and read all his works. And the Bashir emerged out of my reading is the one that you see in the film.
Okay.
When the film was completed, I was very particular to have it shown first to Bashir, not anybody else. I do not want anybody else go and report to him. It's not good. What you have written is not there, etc. I telephoned to MD Vasudha Nair, and I requested him to arrange a screening for Bashir, and Bashir came, and we sat and talked for some time, and then he's quite, then the wife was saying, he did not have proper sleep last night. He was too very excited about seeing the film. That's what he said. Then he asked me very quietly, how does the film end? He said, with the hero standing outside the main gate of the jail with a rose in his hand. I could not tell him no. I could not tell him a lie, yes. I answered him in as inaudible as possible. Allah. He had to read it from my lips. So when the film was screened with a lot of people, even after everybody got up, I saw Bashir sitting there itself. So then I walked up to him, because I had all my fears about how the author will react to a film. And I went close to him, and then he looked up. There were tears in his eyes. And he said, not at that moment. Not at that moment. Calicut Press Club, they had invited me for a press meet. So I told them, you should invite Bashir also. This second thought was good because Bashir readily agreed, and he came. Every question the press people put was answered by Bashir. He kept on talking, and then he announced there all my books. He mentioned a few. He said, it's all free for Adoor. That was a great response. So I was thrilled to hear it from him. And he said, I have only one problem now. When I go back home, Harvey would want that Bashir in this film, not me anymore. For me, that was a great benefit of having made that film, because he became very fond of me. And that established a great relationship with between the two of us. And I consider it as a great blessing from that writer whom I admire. And in every festival, when I introduce the film, I talk about Bashir. So many of them could have not heard about him because it's in Malayalam. They have not heard about even a language called Malayalam in many festivals. There have been some festivals, some filmmakers themselves, some ladies particularly, used to get up and talk about the film. They would say, in the West, we are doing all kinds of things in the man and woman relationship. We show everything without showing the other partner in a film. You're just a man, and then you have been able to elicit such erotic feelings. That's what you are saying. I said the credit goes to Bashir, the writer. It is not Bashir, the writer, standing there. It is the real man, the pure, simple, original, bare man. And on the other side, it is a woman. Yes. She's just a pure, simple woman. On the other side. That is the kind of dialogue they are exchanging between themselves. It is much more than any bodily contact that he can be shown.
In jail, they say when you're confined, that's one thing because it brings in, it's because you're isolated, you can't even see a woman.
Yes.
Yes. It brings in all the, sexual desires to the top of a man or a woman.
And then she is a very coquettish woman.
Yes.
The way she speaks and what she speaks And it's very, very coquettish. She can trap any man like that. And Bashir is easily trapped.
Both are going through this heightened sexual
Yes.
because they can't even see a man.
No.
So it's a kind of
Yes.
they don't even have that visual
Yes.
this thing. So naturally it's all heightened.
Yes.
Any response with like
Yes.
what's like fire that you are putting.
And Bashir was in the central jail about 25 years before writing this story.
Yeah.
And 1967 he writes the story. And I make the film in 1990. Yes. And there's a whole distance of 50 years between the real experience of his incarceration in the jail and the time of this making of this film. Actually, I had done audition of some 26 ladies
Okay.
from all over Kerala, from all India radio, from the theatre, from cinema, because I wanted to avoid Lalita because Lalita will be immediately recognized by the Kerala audience. That was one complaint also I received. You know that Lalita is talking from the other side of the. I told these critics, look, the man who stands on this side of the wall is not Bashir, it is Mamooty. He is acting as Bashir. And the other side, Lalita is standing there on the other side of the wall and she is acting as Narayan. What is your problem? And that was a time when Lalita was in every film and they could identify her voice. So what? My film is not just made for that year. It has been shown all over the world. It did not make any difference whether a popular artist has given voice or not. Even in Kerala, it doesn't make any difference because when she died, I think all the television channels they were showing that sequence, not from any other film, but from this film where she is not seen.
Yes.
So it's so significant. Her contribution has been so significant.
Because her presence is also overwhelming.
Yes,
That
yes.
The way they carry
Yes.
that sequences.
Yes, it had approval from Bashir himself.
Yeah. Because he experienced the real thing.
Yes.
And the last sequence where the jailer gives the dramatic news,
Yes.
take everything.
Yes.
You are absolutely free. Then that's a biggest disappointment for
Exactly.
because there was a date.
Yes.
They were going to meet at the hospital and
Yes.
everything.
So
And then what kind of freedom?
yes. Freedom. What do you mean by freedom?
Freedom.
That's what he's asking. He says, jail.
Yeah.
There is a bigger jail outside this jail. That's what he says.
Yes.
It is not only within the jail, but then outside
Yeah,
also. You
because
can
it
be.
India was still under
Yes,
British.
under the British. That is the jail he is referring to. And also the jail where you have not free to make your choices. The question of freedom is there.
You have that isolated feeling throughout the film, and suddenly it lights up with a woman's voice
Yes.
and the flowers and all these things, and then suddenly you're pushed into
Yes.
the last sequence.
And also the film ends where she's waiting.
Yeah.
The sign of waiting is that she throws up a
the
small twig of it, branch, and then it rises. That's where it film ends,
Yeah.
not where he's holding the rose in his hand. No.
In fact, that waiting adds more to
Yes.
the concept of freedom. That
Yes.
There is a world.
Behind the wall, somebody is waiting, and you are let out.
Mathilukal, I'm sure it is easy for everybody across the world to get into that film.
Everywhere, it was spontaneous. And Bashir, when after we signed the agreement, and then he said, you will make a Gopalakrishnan, you will get not many awards from this film, and also you will make money out of it. And actually, I got the maximum number of international awards for that film.
Okay.
Yes.
I think one of the reasons is that people can easily get into the film. Because other films they are very cultural specific.
Yes.
Like an Anandaram, Elipatayam, So this is universal. Jail can be that. Everybody knows that.
It was in competition in Venice and in several festivals. And in Venice, it got the best International Film Critics Prize.
With Mathilukal, Adoor totally equated film as a creative medium with that of literature. After having made films with his own storyline and screenplay, Adoor ventured out to give his own interpretation to a great literary work. He thus equated great work of a great writer like Basheer with his medium and took it to the world stage, thus showcasing his film and a great literary work in equal footing. By doing so, Adoor has shown to the world that his creativity in all medium are the same, a path shown by great directors like Satyajit Ray, Akira Kurosawa and others. In a way, with the film, Adoor completely equated film as a medium with that of literature, like most of the new wave filmmakers of India. Keep watching our video series to know how he again based his next film on another novelette of yet another Malayalam writer. Do subscribe to our channel Swayamvaram 50 and comment on each of our episodes to keep our conversation going. Thank you for watching.
എപ്പോഴും മതിലിന്റെ മുകളിൽ നോക്കണം. ഞാൻ വരുമ്പോ ഒരു ഉണങ്ങിയ കമ്പ് മതിലിന്റെ മുകളിലേക്ക് ഇടും. വരുവോ?
വരും.
എന്റെ ദൈവമേ,
എന്താ നാരായണി?
എനിക്ക് കരയാൻ തോന്നുന്നു.
കാരണം എന്ത്?
അറിഞ്ഞുകൂടാ.